I wonder if we should get going. I think we've got most of the students here. Can we just have a quick run around and test everybody's sound and make sure that we're all able to see and hear okay? And then James can introduce himself and start off with essentially giving you some information about Second Life and what he does there and what the whole platform is about, and then doing a demonstration of some building that hopefully we can all watch very carefully and literally fly around and move inside as he builds. So perhaps we could kick off with Mr. Frederick Serendipity, who's standing right opposite me.
Well, I think my microphone should be working fine tonight. I am getting the echo in my own, so okay, the echo's gone now. So do you want us to introduce ourselves or just check our microphones?
If you could just reintroduce yourself, just so James knows who you are. I'm on a headset, James, incidentally. Is there somebody on an internal mic somewhere as well?
This is Lillian. I'm not using a headset. I'm using a stand-up mic, standalone mic.
You sound good.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and introduce myself. So,
let's just go around everybody and just test audio and hearing and things. So Frederick, we could hear you quite well, and I hope you can hear us.
I can hear you just fine. Perfect, actually.
Cake, or perhaps Kate, how are you, and can you sort of hear and see us okay?
I can hear you fine and don't know how I sound, but how's that?
I really couldn't hear you very well. You're very distant. I wonder if your volume's okay.
I heard her perfectly. Oh, sorry. Maybe you're set up to hear through your camera rather than avatar?
How do we do that? Is that another preferences?
Yeah.
Edit preferences?
Yeah. Could everybody hear Cake, or was that just me that was able to?
I could hear her well.
I heard her
fine.
okay. She sounded a little distant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same with me.
Well, I'm on a headset with a mic attached, so otherwise I can move. That's the only mic I have.
Cake, if you would like to go into your preferences, you can raise your sound, and we can also raise you as well. But if you go to Edit Preferences, Voice Chat, and then if you click on the button at the very bottom of that window that says Device Settings, then you can drag up the sound, your inputs level. Do you want to give that a go? You can IM me if you want me to repeat that. So Edit Preferences, Voice Chat tab, click on the big Device Settings button, which is kind of in the middle, bottom of the screen. Once it opens up another window, and just drag that input level up.
Ben, I've just actually changed my preferences so that I can hear through the avatar. Is that does that make a big difference? I've not had it in that position before.
A lot of people like to hear through the avatar, but then you have to be right close to them. But if people aren't used to zooming in and out, or with their camera controls, then it's better they get right up next to the person and have it set to avatar. That's probably the easiest.
Now, just so that everybody understands, is right up close, within a sort of notional 20 feet or so, like in this circle?
I'm not, sure, but I'm gonna say yeah. Whenever I can't hear someone, and I was at a conference today, and I was actually set for avatar, and so I got really quite close up. I usually use the camera control one, like set through my camera, because I find it easier just to zoom in on a person, and that way you'll be able to hear them. But it's really a preference, that whichever people prefer.
Hey Ben, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, well let's carry on. I'm sorry. we'll come to you in just a minute, James. I'm just going to go around the circle here. So Zoe, could you just introduce yourself to James, and let's just check your voice and everything. I think we did hear you earlier on.
Hi, this is Lillian. This is my third class in the Health Informatics program. I'm happy to be here.
Again, I found that very hard to hear. Did everybody else hear Zoe?
Sounded good to me.
I
Me
heard her
too.
fine.
Another thing we can do to raise people's audio is to do it ourselves. So we can click on that little button that's next to the lock icon, where the talk button with the lock. Just to the left of that is another little icon with two little heads and the speaking icon above their head. It will open up the active speakers menu, and on there you can actually click on Zoe, for instance, and then drag her audio, what do you call that, the scrubber up, so she'll be louder. It's also how you mute people. So if any of us...
How's that, Peter?
How's that?
Well, I could certainly hear a lot louder then.
Did everybody hear that?
I sure did.
Yeah.
All right. That kind of blew my ears.
Yeah, the system really works better when everybody's on headsets. For example, I get echo, Zoe, through yours. It's just hard to avoid if you're on speakers and an external mic. All audio conferencing has this problem. And unfortunately, it's harder to do if you have multiple people in the conference at the same time. You don't typically have these sorts of problems with Skype. Skype can do horrible, evil things to your computer's audio subsystem. Like, it can detect that your microphone input is too low and reach into the hardware and turn up the volume.
Wow.
But it does that based on the fact that there are only two people talking, and so it has a real good idea of what too loud and too quiet is. It's much harder to do when you have a bunch of people. This will get better. Sorry, this is so frustrating. I'm James Cook. About 10 years ago, I was a young internal medicine physician, and I got interested in working on virtual reality, virtual worlds, and so I joined this company, Linden Lab, that built a system that became Second Life. And a few years back, I took a break from that and did some work with Peter to build a simulation of the hallucinations of schizophrenia, a project that Peter had been pursuing for some time, that I ported over to work in the Second Life environment. It's actually still up in Second Life. If you search for virtual hallucinations, there's an instance of it out on the main grid. And since then, I've been mostly working on the Second Life system and the software you're using today. So that's my 30-second spiel.
My name's Stephen Wood. This is my third class in the informatics program, and I wasn't able to make it last week. I got to the virtual hallucinations place, but couldn't get here, so I'm happy to be here. So
It's good to see you, Stephen, and thanks for coming. And then let's move on to Daisy, just so that James knows who you are.
Hi, my name is Jolene Ordona, and this is my second informatics class. I started last fall of last year. I've been in IT healthcare support for many years, and for tonight, I'm just so happy that I'm able to have a voice. I didn't have it last week, so I'm sure glad I'm here today. Thank you.
Good. Well, that's excellent, and it's nice to hear you as well. I must say, you actually did manage very well last week, doing an awful lot of typing and chatting.
Hi everybody, I'm Marty Leamon. James, good to see you again. I'm using a new headset this time, so hopefully I'm sounding better to everybody.
You sound super.